Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh everyone, this is Mr. Middlepath, and in today's video we're going to go over why CoComelon is actually really bad for your child, as well as some alternatives that we can get into and the science behind learning and what we can do if you have to let your kid watch TV. For anyone who's not new to the channel, please forgive the redundancy, but for those who are new, my name is Ahmed. I have a background in psychology and mental health. I have a master's degree in educational psychology, as well as working in a psychiatric hospital in Egypt and in the mental health field in America with people that had addictions or suffered from mental illnesses such as schizophrenia and bipolar disorder. I've also had a little bit of a background in research and some humble experience editing research at the National Academies of Science, Engineering, and Medicine. So let's get into the video, inshallah. So number one, CoComelon. The researchers who work for CoComelon set up a device that they called the Distractotron. And what it is basically they have the children come in a room to watch CoComelon on a TV. And on a TV screen nearby in the room, they would have random 5 to 15-second clips playing. This could be someone walking their dog, someone eating an apple, a squirrel climbing up a tree, just random videos that are playing one after the other in a loop. And they would mark and note whenever the child would turn away from CoComelon and look at the Distractotron, and they would mark that down in their notes. The goal obviously is to have the child look away as little as possible. So because CoComelon's on YouTube, they want to maximize watch time percentages. And this is a very extreme problem because the research shows that that is not how children learn. Blue's Clues, which came out in the early 90s, was a groundbreaking TV show, and a lot of people didn't think that children would learn from this show at the time, but it was narrative driven, meaning it was a story, and it was very slow and interactive. So they would talk to the screen and wait for the child to give the answer. And what happened was children did start learning from Blue's Clues. Now Blue's Clues did another thing, which was that they played the same episode every single day of the week, and then at the end of the week they would start the new episode because children learn through repetition. This format of pausing and allowing the child time to absorb the information revolutionized educational TV for children, and this is why things like Sesame Street also incorporate the same method where Elmo or Big Bird or whoever will ask the question at the screen and then stop and pause and wait for the answer. We take that kind of stuff for granted as parents, but it wasn't always the case that children's shows were run like this. CoComelon takes many steps backwards by harming the child by having a lot of flashy edits, flashy movements. Nothing in the screen is staying still. Everything is jumping from scene to scene, not allowing the child to absorb the information that they're learning, and actually causing harm because these quick edits and quick changes actually causes a dopamine release for the child, and it gives CoComelon addictive qualities, similar to how researchers for different social media companies found out that when you are scrolling through your phone, and if they put an infinite scroll feature, meaning that you can't stop or refresh the page, it automatically refreshes and allows you to keep scrolling forever, that actually hooks you in and keeps you addicted for longer. So these companies are putting in lots of money to make your child addicted to their show. So how can we prevent this? Well, I want to share with you another groundbreaking study that happened in the education sphere, and which was that they took American babies and they wanted to teach them Mandarin, being one of the primary languages in China. So basically taking children that had no exposure to Mandarin. And these were 9-month-old infants, 9 to a year old, if I remember the study correctly. And they had children by themselves playing, and they either had a TV playing a video or a live class by a Mandarin instructor trying to teach the child. And what they found out was the child learned from the live instructor, obviously, because the live instructor could pause and so forth. But here's the incredible part. They did a follow-up study a few years later, and what they did was they took 2 children together, paired up, and they had the children in a room where the Mandarin video, not live instruction, but the Mandarin video was playing on TV. And those children learned Mandarin. How did they find that out? They would scan their brains, and they would also see if they had phonetic awareness, if they said sentences in Mandarin, whether the child would look or pay attention, versus children that did not learn any Mandarin didn't have the same reaction. So they figured that these children are actually learning Mandarin just by being in the same proximity with each other while a TV show is playing that had Mandarin in it. We get a couple of things from this. Number one is the social nature of learning. It didn't have to be a parent sitting with the child to make sure that the child learned. Just by the child sitting with other children and watching a slow paced video that allows the child time to process the information, they can learn from it. The second thing is repetition, making sure that the child can watch that same show, not new flashy images all over again, but that same show over and over and over again so that they can keep the information. The third thing that I'm adding as someone who studied educational psychology and as a student of the game is simply tying in what they're watching to real life. So you can imagine a book like The Very Hungry Caterpillar, when the caterpillar eats the chocolate and the watermelon and the meat and the cheese and they get sick. So then when your child wants to eat something that they're not supposed to, you tell them, hey, you're going to get sick just like the hungry caterpillar got sick. And they will process that and they will learn that, hey, yeah, I'm not going to eat that because I don't want to get sick like the hungry caterpillar. And you have to keep repeating these things. Last but not least, of course, is the time, right? Do not let your child watch more than 1 hour per day if you must, and maybe make it a few hours in a week maximum for them to watch TV. Most of their knowledge should be gained from interacting with the environment, with the TV being complementary, not the essential thing. A lot of parents do see that TV time as a break that they finally get where their child can just chill out, watch something, and they can take that time off. And I totally get it. I'm a parent too. However, you have to understand that this time is actually not a break, it's an investment. And that investment will show. Other studies show that people or children coming from rich or higher socioeconomic backgrounds have a lot more vocabulary and words that they know to express themselves than children starting school from lower socioeconomic backgrounds. So these investments absolutely matter. If you must take a break, I recommend sitting and watching the TV show with your child to ensure that they get the maximum learning possible. Point to different things that they see in the TV, such as the color of the tiger, if they are watching a documentary or a kids show about tigers. What are the colors of the tiger? What does the tiger like to eat? What do you call animals that like to eat meat, for example? Or if there's more than one animal in the child's show, to pause and allow them to count the animal. These kids will learn if you play something or a language that you don't know. They can actually learn that language if they're watching it with you or with a sibling that is with them or children that are present in the room, as long as you pick the correct programs that are slow paced, allow the child time to process and think through the information, do not have a lot of flashy edits and constantly changing scenes, and that repetition, which is extremely important in how children learn. Finally, how do we prevent companies that are behind shows like CoComelon from taking advantage of us? The answer is simple. You simply stop watching it and you turn it off. Boycotts absolutely work as a form of punishing companies and letting them know what we want. At the end of the day, partially it is the fault of the company for producing such a program that causes children to be addicted, but a partial blame is on the parents for allowing that and rewarding the company by watching it and giving them those ad revenues. Ultimately, if nothing can be done about this, then we as the parents have to have the responsibility to not watch those shows and let those companies know with our view time that these are shows that we are not interested. It is absolutely possible, and I wish you all the best. If you need any help or assistance with these matters, I do offer coaching. You can follow the link below and we can see if we're a good fit. I hope to see you soon. Take care. Peace out. And Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.